Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now June, of course, of 2023. It is the month of the release of Indy 5, The Dial of Destiny. It's going to arrive on June 30th, as you all know. A lot of fans are willing to not even give this movie a chance and not even see it. There is a boycott going around. A lot of fans are absolutely refusing to see this film based on several factors that we have gone over and covered several times. However, there lies a big development behind closed doors that I think is going to lead to the production of this movie being perceived as an even bigger disaster, being mishandled by who I call Kathleen Kennedy as the disaster artist, all due respect to Tommy Wiseau, but that's what I dub her when it comes to Indiana Jones and the Star Wars franchise. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and without further ado, let's get right into the main subject. So by the way guys, happy Saturday everybody. I hope you're all having an amazing weekend so far, and we have a lot of things to talk about because there's been a lot of problems arising between Kathleen Kennedy, James Mangold, Harrison Ford, and yes, even Mr. Kwan. Alright, you may know him as Short Round in Indy 5. We're going to be talking about what was going on with the Indy 5 ending. And as it turns out, there were 6 total endings filmed for Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, as opposed to the previous 4. So let's go over all of this. So on top of everything here, with Indy 5 getting ready for its global release on June 30th, both Kathleen Kennedy and the Disney executives are beginning to attempt to invest more revenue in some last-minute marketing after their failure to spread the proper amount of trailers and TV spots both on television and on the internet. However, as it turns out, 6 endings were filmed in total for Indy 5, as opposed to the previously assumed 4. One of the big endings that Kathleen Kennedy was creating for a while with James Mangold was going to involve the return of Short Round, aka Wan Lee, who was going to return, played by Kwan. Alright, now Kwan, of course, is a well-respected actor now. He has really lifted himself in terms of his career in Hollywood with Everything Everywhere All at Once. But the Helena overall backstory, alright, we're going to talk about that in a second, but this scene in particular that was nearly complete was going to bring both Indiana Jones and Helena back to Sri Lanka, China, to meet an old friend of Indy's to uncover knowledge of hidden relics stored in the Himalayan mountains somewhere. Short Round is described to have a map to its location, and Indy brings Helena along with him to Short Round's home. Now, this ending of Indy involved Dr. Jones knocking on Short Round's door, where Kwan's assistant opens the door for Indy. Short Round in the background is seen meditating, where both Indy and Short Round eventually sit down in front of each other, where a sunset is seen in the background. Now, let me just pause here quickly. What's really disastrous about all of this is the fact that Kathleen Kennedy pulled and deleted this entire ending because of a specific reason we're going to go over in just a second. Now, Kwan, by the way, is a great actor. I think he really knows how to deliver a proper performance. If you guys have seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, he really has talent. Now, and that movie may not be for everybody. It is a very confusing movie, by the way. But when you look at Indiana Jones 5, this is the cameo that deserves to be the highlight, and Kathleen Kennedy sabotaged all of it. We're going to be going into the exact reason why Kathy sabotaged this, and exactly the main reasoning behind her intentions about all of that. So further, alright, this is where a brief discussion is made about the Himalayan mountains, where Shorty gives Indy the map. The scene was ultimately cancelled by Kathy because of one reason, and one reason only, that comes across as very petty, is that it wasn't acknowledging Helena in the background. Kathy felt the focus on Shorty was watering down Helena's spotlight toward the ending and forced Mangold to cut the entire scene. So far, Shorty does not appear in this film, as far as we all know, at all, and even Harrison Ford has big arguments over that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Though there were rumblings that some footage may have been left over at the middle point of the film to salvage the disastrous call by Kathleen Kennedy, forcing Mangold to delete this entire ending scene. Now, by the way, this was the second ending that they were gonna choose from in the very early stages, apart from the brief cameo of Henry Jones inside of that biplane, or that modified biplane, where both Indiana Jones and Henry Jones are sitting next to each other in a horizontal pattern. So it was definitely a modified biplane, because traditionally you have one seat in the front, one seat in the back, not next to each other. But what's interesting about this is why Kathleen Kennedy went out of her way to delete Short Round. To cancel Short Round from Indy 5 is... I don't even know how to put words into this. It is so disrespectful and disgraceful, not just to the character, but also to the fan base and to the Indiana Jones franchise in general. You can't get rid of Short Round. He is by far one of the most well-known actors, or should I say characters, portrayed by a very valuable actor now in the Indiana Jones franchise. I don't know why Kathleen Kennedy ultimately did this at last minute, but she did. And like I said before, there was rumblings that some leftover footage of Kwan's scenes were actually implanted into the middle point of the film, but so far there's really no word about any footage of Short Round in Indy 5, so don't expect him to make an appearance or even a major cameo at that, but it's still possible. But this ending was completely gutted, it was destroyed and ripped off from one of the final cuts in the earlier stages, because she wanted to focus more so on Helena. Now, there was a previous idea that Mangold was going to do, was that he wanted to combine those two endings that were going to value both Henry Jones and Short Round, where he wanted to basically combine ending 1 and 2, where Henry Jones and Dr. Jones fly off into the sunset, and then we were going to have a post-credit scene where that was going to be used for Short Round, giving Indy the map, essentially, setting up a sequel, seemingly at least setting up a sequel, by giving him a map to the Himalayan mountains. And what I like so much about Indy 5, by the way, much like Star Wars in a way, is that there are global trotting moments. You have a lot of global trotting, or in Star Wars, as I like to call it, galaxy trotting or planetary trotting, whatever you want to call it. But in Indiana Jones, since it is on Earth, obviously, global trotting is a great thing and all, because you get to see all these beautiful destinations, and I think that's one major reason why Indiana Jones is so famous as it is. You get to see all these parts of the world in such a unique way. And this would have really been something special, to visit Sri Lanka again, to hear about a new relic being stored away in the Himalayan mountains. Now, we know that Kathleen Kennedy has opened up a couple of weeks ago that she wants to make a sequel to Indy 5 that's going to depart away from Indiana Jones. That would be a disastrous call as well, and it's not a big surprise at the end of the day. I do realize that she just wants to rip apart pop culture and what fans grew up with, what fans are very nostalgic over. So this call to delete Short Round from Indy 5 is inexcusable. There's no excuse to do something like that. So overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.